Yeah. Run it back nation, what is good? It is I, DJ Ace, with Run It Back Philly and Tone Deshields of Chalk It Up Sportswear live on two channels today. I'm here to get Tone's perspective, opinions, in takes on all of the things that went down towards the end of the season here for the Philadelphia 76ers. A lot of people are already over it. I know a lot of people are probably watching the Boston Miami game right now. I have it up on one of my screens over here. But I'm not over it yet. I am still hurt. I'm still hurting inside. People are probably like, why are you still talking about this every day? I'm hurting inside. Jay the Bull and Unc Dove couldn't make it with us, so this is the 2-point play tonight on Tuesday nights.
Just a little layup.
Yeah. 2-point play. A little layup. No foul calls. No fouls. Uh, First of all, Tone, I want to say shout out to you. I saw you on Lord Brunson's channel the other night. Was that last night? You were up
Yeah,
with
yeah.
Lord
Last
Brunson
night,
talking?
yeah. Me and him did a double stream as well, and yeah, LB my guy, man. We worked together once before, and me and him just hit it off pretty early. So yeah, I reached out to him over the weekend. I said, hey, bro, we got to set this up because he wanted to set something up a couple weeks back, but I was on vacation, so we locked it in for yesterday. And yeah, that's my guy, man. Real good dude.
Dope, man. Yeah, you guys were getting your Eagles talk off, man. I'm excited to get into some of that as I
Definitely.
move forward. On this YouTube thing. So yeah, man, I didn't get to talk to you since when's the last time we did a 4-point play stream? Missed a couple weeks with Sixers playoff games and things like that. Um,
It probably was pre. I think it was post game five or pre game five. Pre game. It was definitely prior to game six.
yeah,
It
we
was
didn't get
prior to
yeah.
game six.
That would have been fun to immediately react to Game 6, man. That would have been a lot of fun. But
That'd have been
I
bad.
guess a week later now. Is it a week later? It doesn't even feel like that long since Game 6. Maybe it's 2 weeks. I don't know. I can't even tell time at this point. But
Right.
I guess give me your reaction to Game 6, man. Like with the expectations or what we thought was possibly going to happen. We thought we could steal it in Philly and take it back to Miami for Game 7. We clearly fell on our faces. So how'd you feel about it?
I mean, overall, it was embarrassing. That's my instant reaction. It was just embarrassing because clearly we have a hard time playing in Miami. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the margaritas. I don't know if it's the woman. I don't know if it's the sand. But we clearly have a hard time playing in Miami, and losing Game Five in Miami. Okay, that was kind of to be expected, but I still had high hopes for us to kind of steal it because at the end of the day, in order to win that series, you had to steal at least one home game. I mean, one road game. You had to at least steal one.
Yep.
They couldn't do it. So okay, Game 6 you're on your home court. Nothing better than some home cooking, right? And these guys, to put it plainly, didn't show up in any way possible. Everybody, top to bottom. And I know it's easy to give Doc Rivers hell because that's like the easy target in my humble opinion. But I don't think he was our biggest problem this playoffs. And if I'm being completely honest, I mean he was a part of the issue, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't think Doc Rivers was the sole source of our issues like he was last year. Last year, you was able to point directly at him.
Yeah.
This year, I really felt like this team kind of was sleepwalking through the playoffs. And if I'm gonna be blunt about it, I think they got worn down by Toronto. They got worn down,
That's a really good
and
take.
and when they went up against a team that was just as lethal or just as ferocious, if not more, they couldn't respond. They really couldn't respond. The main difference between Toronto and Miami is the fact that they actually had somebody that could put. They had a couple guys that could put the ball in the hoop. Whereas though Toronto, they would struggle to find consistent shooting, consistent scoring. Miami had Butler, they had Tyler Hero, they had the guy Max Struess. They had guys that were consistently able to get buckets, and that was the difference. The veracity didn't really change. Both teams were gritty, but the main difference was the fact that Miami was actually able to make buckets, and ultimately we got exposed, and we got worn down, and it was just the overall disappointing performance by all parties, man. I mean, you can always find a silver lining, but for the most part, overall, it was just overall disappointment.
I guess I'll ask you: do you think that goes into coaching? Because I agree. I was, and I'm the biggest, most outspoken Doc Rivers hater in the world. I just think the guys. I think the guy's just out of his mind at this point and needs to just pack his bags and
He's too
call it a
prideful
career.
for me. It's a little too
Yeah,
prideful.
and he's just he won't ever even take accountability for anything. He just deflects everything. He's never wrong. I mean, he argues with reporters every day. I just don't understand it. But and I was over. I was like, Doc Rivers is what he is. What he did this season is what it is. So once we were in the playoffs, I wasn't pointing to him because the roster was what it was, and we kind of knew this roster was outside of the 5 starters. We didn't have
Right.
enough. We needed production from the star guys, or we're not going to get the game's not going to get saved by George Niang or Furkan Korkmaz deep off the bench or anything like that. But when Doc was on the sideline giving this like rah rah pep speeches, asking his guys to give him effort, I was just like, what goes on in during the season, in practice, every day? What kind of culture is there if you're asking grown men in Game 6 of the second round of the playoffs to show up and give you effort? It just gave
I
me
feel like
very
that's the last thing you got to ask. That's the last thing you should be asking for. Effort.
It gave me very Brett Brown vibes. And Jimmy Butler said about Brett Brown that he didn't know who was in charge when he went to practice. There didn't seem to be any order or any, like, a very laid back, do whatever you want kind of thing. Hey, come in, shoot around, you know what I mean? Hang out, get in your workout. And like, I don't think teams that are run by like Eric Spoelstra and those kind of guys are that casual and laid back. So I guess that's where I would go with Doc Rivers' impact on the playoffs.
Mm. It's funny you say that, right? Comparing this like an Eric Spoelstra situation as far as like how Miami has a winning culture. But let's, if we're going to put it plainly, it starts at the top. Think about who I guess the ownership group is for Miami. I'm not sure exactly what their name is, but I know Pat Riley is their GM, right? And he has a really big role in that, has some stake in that organization.
I think
But
he's the president of operations and GM and maybe part owner or something like that.
right, but when we think about Miami Heat, we think about Pat Riley, right? Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra. You think about that as the figurehead of that organization. Pat Riley has been no nonsense since he was a player, since he used to coach the Knicks back in the day, right? And he used to coach the Knicks back in the day.
I actually have no idea.
I can't remember, but he was coaching. He coached back in the day. Then he was the Miami Heat coach when he won the championship with Shaq and D Wade.
Yep.
He's a winner. A no nonsense.
Didn't he fire the coach and take over in Miami or something like that?
I think so.
I think he was the GM and he was like, you know what, I'll do this myself, and he coached.
And they won a championship. but it's like I said, it's a top down issue, right? You mentioned the Sixers; they are a very laid back organization. You think about Miami, like I said, Pat Riley, a no nonsense kind of guy, a guy that moves like he in the mafia. You know what I mean? And then you think about the Sixers. One of their owners hangs out with Meek Mill all the time, Michael Rubin. Then the other owner, I forget his name. He just seems like he's happy to be there all the time. And Elton Brand.
Josh Harris is just the leader of a mega group of investors basically that buy up everything.
Right.
And now he's working with a group that's trying to buy the Denver Broncos. Like he's not a basketball guy at all. He's just a money guy.
At all, just a money guy, right? And I don't have a problem with that if you employ the right people around you, so you don't look as much of a fool. Because I don't expect all owners to know all the nuances of the game. I just don't. It's a money grab for them. Most of these owners make more money elsewhere, and this is just like a hobby for them, right? So you think about the Sixers. Okay, previously you had Elton Brand and Brett Brown. That was a problem. They're both just two laid back individuals who don't really have that iron fist. Then you bring in Doc Rivers, also super laid back. And then you got Daryl Morey, a really laid back guy as well. So when you put all that together, your players are naturally going to be laid back, in my humble opinion. And I never thought I would say this, but do the Philadelphia 76ers have a culture issue?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my God, yeah. I think it stems from. I think it bled over from the tanking. Like it was like we never got into a winning mindset. We never got into a hardcore lock it down, work hard every day kind of mindset. I don't think. I think it's been casual ever since the process started. We lose on purpose for 3 years, and then you try to change the culture somehow, even though they extended Brett Brown for 3 more seasons and then finally fired him. Like, I don't think they changed coaches soon enough. so many things. Like once you got Joel and you said, okay, that now we have started, we got our guy. Now we're starting to be serious. You should have tried to change the whole culture right then. I just think they wasted a whole lot of time, and it just seems like yeah they have a culture problem for sure. It just doesn't seem like if you're asking guys for effort in a game six, I think there's a culture problem, and there's the worst city to do that because this fan base doesn't tolerate a whole lot, and the one thing they definitely don't tolerate is a lack of effort. And you know, people get on Philly. Oh, you guys boo your own team.
Oh
They
yeah.
deserve it. They deserve it. Where they deserve it. You don't boo your own team when they don't show you paid for tickets and travel to the game and do all this stuff, and you're watching millionaires not give effort. You should boo them. That's how I feel about that. But yeah, there's definitely a culture problem, I think. So I
Yeah.
guess like, go ahead.
No, yeah. I was just gonna say pretty much like it's you can make an argument that they've been losing for so long, they don't know how to win. And they don't know how to turn on that or hit that second or third gear when it comes to playoff level basketball. Like this organization, I'm starting to believe they're comfortable with just being relevant. They're
Yeah,
comfortable with just saying, you know what, we got a superstar, and we got some young talent in Tyrese Maxey and guys like that. And I'm starting to think now maybe bringing Daryl Morey here maybe tweaks how we approach building rosters because he's only been here for what 2 seasons really,
yep.
and this will be his second off season or his no his
Second off,
third.
third off
Well,
season.
because he came in, we brought him in.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
third off season. Yep.
yeah, this will be his third full off season, and I'm really curious to see how he approaches this offseason because I'm gonna be totally honest with you. This entire roster is expendable except for Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, and James Harden. If you got James Harden in your roster, you could be worse off. You know what I mean? I feel like at this point you need to surround him with enough role players, guys that can actually get a bucket. Or let's be honest, right? Those days James Harden dropping 35, 10, and 9 are done. What we're going to see from now on, and I'll be completely comfortable with this if he's scoring efficiently. I'll be completely comfortable with James Harden being a 22, 8 and 7 guy. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
if he's giving you what you need when you need it, you know what I mean. If
Exactly.
yeah,
His scoring clock is terrible. Like he doesn't have timely. He hasn't had a timely bucket except for that game 4
and
where
has
he was.
he has he
Go ahead.
really has he really ever? I remember, and I didn't watch him intently his whole career, but I remember one. I remember that Golden State series where he played out of his mind and he hit a buzzer beater like double team to send it into overtime. Like I don't think there's very many James Harden big shots. I think he gets a lot of nice stats throughout the regular season, and he I don't want to call it stat padding, but people throw up the numbers there when under 2 minutes in playoff games, and they're not good at all. So I
And that's
and then
scary to me.
we just witnessed it.
That's no, that's terrifying to me because games are won and lost in those moments, and you know you gotta ask like bringing a guy like James Harden, will he negatively affect the culture of this organization, whatever culture we do have, and Joel Embiid, he's a leader, but he doesn't strike me as someone who's Joel Embiid is interesting because you want to think that he's a vocal leader, but he seems to be way more dialed back now. Now that he's older, has a kid. He's not as vocal as he used to be. He's more vocal when he's hurt on the sideline, motivating guys, but in game or he doesn't seem to be as vocal as he used to be. He used to talk shit back in the day,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
and
He was
now
getting the talk.
it just seemed like he's I don't know. I kind of feel like that was part of his superpower. You know what I mean? Like the fact that he played with a certain swag, a certain juice, and guys knew what was coming to him. He'll tell you what was coming, what he's going to do, and he'll do it. Now I feel like it takes a lot to get him riled up. It takes a lot to get him, really, really in that zone. And I got to be honest, man. That the Miami Heat series, on top, matter of fact, that injury, the orbital injury, I think that affected him a lot deeper than what we actually realized because he had that concussion. And when you got a concussion, you're disoriented, your balance is off, you're not as like the turnaround time for an NBA concussion is way quicker than a football concussion. Like it's
Right.
crazy, you know what I mean?
5 days.
And 5 days straight up, like stay in the dark and you'll be all right. But you know, the dude just seemed like he was preoccupied the entire time. And originally, I thought, well, maybe is it because of the MVP situation? Like, is he kind of upset about that? Okay, that'll probably motivate him. No, the opposite. As a matter of fact, he seemed disinterested. He seemed detached. He seemed like he was worried about something else. He was playing like he forgot the stove on. Like
I just think
the whole time he thinking like, damn, did I leave the stove on? The whole time, that's how he was playing to me.
I guess that's why Charles Barkley came up with the idea that he was playing like that because he didn't win the MVP, which I just don't get down with at all. I don't think Joel was out there like, oh man, I didn't win the MVP, I'm upset. I just think Joel was trying to do what he normally does and couldn't do it. I think he flat out couldn't do it. I think, the one play that I remember specifically, he shot a jumper and the ball didn't spin at all. He shot a knuckleball right at the front of the rim. He's trying to shoot the ball without a thumb ligament, and then, the face, you don't know how, like, just painful it is. Maybe he has like a pounding headache. Maybe his vision's blurry at times. Like, I just think he was trying to do what he normally does and he couldn't do it, and he got discouraged and just was like, this ain't working, man. What am I supposed to do out here?
And the sad part about that is when you're a superstar, it's not himself. It's up to the role players or your number two or number three guys, your B and C guys, to come in and elevate and up their game because they see, okay, our main guy, he's not dogging it, but he's dragging right now, and it's not his fault, but he out here. Okay, we gotta ride or die for him, and I didn't get that. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't get. I didn't see this team motivated outside of game 3 and 4. And that's the shocking thing. They came into game 6 as if they were down 3-1 they came into game 6 as if they was already down 3-0 or something like that. Like they were already out of this series. Like they were just trying to like
Yep.
mail it in. They couldn't wait to go fishing. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Shout out to inside the NBA. Like shout out to those guys. Like it's just I didn't see. When you watch playoff basketball, when there's a game 6 or a game 7, the atmosphere, you see it, you feel it, you can cut it with a knife, and you can see it on the other team. You can see how they move. You can see how they're attacking the basket, how they're attacking loose balls, and so on and so forth. The intensity was higher in the Atlanta series last year than it was this year
Yeah.
for the Miami Heat, and it's strange to me. I'm like, is this roster scared of Jimmy Butler?
I think it was a mixture of mentality and also just guys that aren't athletic enough to keep up. I mean, like I saw James Harden literally not trying, and like I said a couple times, PJ Tucker's over 5 years older than him and was just beating him to loose balls every single possession,
Every single time.
single game, and James is just standing there, and his fans are trying to tell me that he still has a hamstring injury. I don't see him listed on an injury report. I'm not getting like questionable coming into the game with rehabbing a hamstring. Like none of that. He had a 26-point triple-double in the regular season and ran the stairs in the arena. And then we're in the playoffs. He looks like he's not trying, and people are going to say, well, his hamstring hurts. I don't know. I think he got physically outworked because he's not in shape, and he got punked, and there was nothing he could do. Those Jimmy Butler, PJ Tucker, all those kind of guys, man, they don't stop working. They're going to be in the best shape they can possibly be in by the time the playoffs start. And one thing Jimmy Butler might shoot 10% from 3, or he might go 0 for 70. One thing you're never going to do is out hustle that guy. And PJ Tucker, same story. So we got out hustled. We just got punked, man. There's too many slow, unathletic players on the team, and the mentality it wasn't there either. But I think it might be because they realized in that game 5, Miami came out and punched us in the mouth, and I think they were like, "That's it. These dudes are beating us up. There's nothing we can do." I think they came out game 6 already defeated.
That game 5 definitely changed the way they approached game 6. Game 5 was startling, but at the same time, I tried not to read too much into it because, okay, we saw Golden State get smacked by Memphis without John Morant. So
55.
Right. So it's like, okay, a team is liable to have a really ugly game in the playoffs. They're liable. It
Yeah.
happens, right? But that didn't look like any regular SmackDown. That looked like Miami said, okay, we let y'all have y'all fun. Now we about to show y'all, what hoopers really do. And it seemed like the Sixers really just didn't have an answer in any way. They didn't have an answer for it. I watched that whole game 5, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, is someone going to say, no, F this, like, all right, we locking in? It seemed like it seemed like the whole time everybody was just, what it felt like? It felt like the whole time they were at like a NASCAR race and they were just watching cars fly by. I'm like, vroom, vroom. They was just trying to, they was just like, they were so lost. They were lost. And I have no idea. I have no idea what came over this team. Like, you seen Space Jam. Like, it's almost like they stole their talent. Like, I didn't know what happened.
Yeah, they got punked. They got absolutely punked. So where do we go from here? I guess
Well,
like on the list of things, first of all, like what do you think about James Harden's play in the playoffs? And he has a $47 million player option, and then he's eligible for an extension, or maybe they offer him an extension, or maybe they don't. Maybe they try to get him to take less money. I don't see the guy wanting to take less money. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he'll surprise me, and maybe he wants to win. Maybe he wants to have 5 more great years in the NBA, and he's going to try to do that. I don't know. I'm not getting the work ethic from James Harden just over the past couple of seasons, but if he wants to turn it around, it's all up to him. You know what I mean? If he wants to put in the work this offseason and comes back, I'll tell everybody I was wrong about it, but I don't see it happen personally. But what do you think?
so when it comes to James Harden specifically, I just saw a report saying that they're not going to offer him the supermax. So we'll see how that goes.
Who was that from?
But this was Yahoo Sports.
Oh, snap. From Shans?
Yahoo Sports. Dan Feldman. Not really familiar with, not too familiar with him, but it was via Yahoo Sports. And yeah, man, Yahoo Sports is pretty on it. They do
Yeah.
a good job covering basketball. But James Harden, for one, I don't think he's a supermax player anymore, especially what we just saw. There's no way him and his people and his representation can be in the right mind and come into a negotiation table and say, "Hey, my guy deserves the supermax. You need
Nah.
to." Well, what have y'all been watching? Have y'all been playing
Yeah,
2K?
right.
Like,
Well, yeah.
are y'all living off of the Houston days? And my thing,
All they would have to say back to that is like, look, you look pretty terrible at 32, and you want me to give you 60 million when you're 37? How could I do that?
exactly, I cannot do that. So James Harden, what needs to happen is they have to find a way to keep. Well, first things first. I think James Harden, he's not an idiot. He's not going anywhere else. There's no other situation. See, whether he wants to reveal it or not, no matter how nonchalant he comes off in his press conferences, he cares about his image. He cares about what we all do. We're humans. We care about how people see us at the end of the day. Now, we may not care as much as other people, but we all care about how we look in certain
Who
situations.
said? Somebody said he hates getting embarrassed more than anything, and he felt like he got embarrassed in that game 6 in front of Philly, and they said he's gonna trust me. He's gonna come back stronger than ever because of that. I think it was Kendrick Perkins or somebody said that he hates being embarrassed, and he's not gonna ever let that happen again. I don't know. Maybe.
And the interesting thing, the most interesting thing about that is, I'm a firm believer that every now and again you got to get embarrassed, so you can know, like, this is the real deal. You know what I mean? Some Every now and again you got to embarrass somebody so they know you ain't playing. And if I'm being completely honest, you know, when it comes to James Harden, if this is true that he's been, if this is true that he's been embarrassed, all right, cool, wear that, and now it's time to lock in and get your body right. Because at the end of the day, you're 32 years old. You can still get your body back on track. That's not impossible. You're not 80, bro. So again, like I said, James Harden, if he's a smart man, he's gonna take the option. He ain't stupid. He gonna pick up his option. That's 40 million in the bank, easy. He gonna pick up his option, and then he's gonna sign maybe a 3-year extension, 3 or 4 year extension, and it's not going to be a super max deal, obviously, but it's still going to be for a lot of money. But he understands that this has to work. That's the unique thing about this. This has to work. He can't afford to bail out. This would ruin his. If he bailed out on the Sixers, I think this could hurt his legacy more than leaving Brooklyn or leaving Houston.
Yeah, because if you left
Because
Houston, yeah, you're right. Yeah, 3 teams you left. Now who's going to take a chance? You know,
who's going to want to invest in you? Who's going to want to play with you? Right? Who's going to believe you're really down for the squad? You know what I'm saying? So James Harden, this is honestly, if we're being completely frank about this is his best opportunity to win a championship. Nowhere else, because because you have Joel Embiid, a superstar center who is in his prime right now. I think Joel Embiid is what, 28 right now,
yeah,
27, 28,
28, just turned
and
28. Yeah,
just turned 28. If we're being completely honest, you got about maybe another 2 to 3 years of Joel Embiid playing at this level, maybe, because of his injury history and big men, they need stuff to fill them later on in life or earlier on in life, excuse me. So he understands this is his best chance, and on top of that, we got the wild card of Daryl Morey. He trusts Daryl Morey with his life, and if Daryl Morey said he gonna get him right, he gonna get him right. So James Harden has the utmost faith in Daryl Morey, and I believe that's a wild card that's going to keep him here in Philly. And like I said, he'll be a fool to try to go somewhere else because you're not going to be eligible for the Supermax anywhere else, and then everyone else saw the playoffs. You're probably going to get less money if you try to go
yeah.
somewhere else. So you
No,
better off staying here. Staying with Daryl. Daryl going to make sure you get paid, and you gotta let it be what it's going to be, man. But I think the most important thing for James Harden, outside of the front office stuff and off paper, when it comes to strictly basketball, James Harden has to self scout this summer. What I mean is he has to literally watch his own tape and watch how he's been playing the game the past couple years or whatever, or just this past season with the Sixers.
yeah,
If you pay attention to how he was playing, every time he drove to the rim, this is him. Every
yeah.
time he drove to the rim,
Well,
you
that's another
can't
thing. That's
can't
another
keep
thing.
looking for that.
He was one of the most affected by the NBA basically saying, we're not giving these, like, if you're leaning, if it's not a natural shooting motion anymore, we're not calling the foul. If you're leaning and creating the contact, you're not getting the call. If you're swinging, if you're doing a sweep through, we're called a foul on the floor. Like, there's so many instances, those 9 years in Houston, he had like 20 some free throws a game. It led the league in free throw shooting probably all 9 years. I don't even know if that's true or not, but I feel like it might be. And all of that changed when they stopped giving him those calls. And not just that, like, they stopped giving him real calls too. Like, I think his reputation as a free throw baiter or whatever affected him, because now the officials are looking to not call it because they're waiting for him to try to fool him. So
I believe that.
a lot of times he gets fouled and they're just like, nah, because I don't even know anymore. I felt like you were trying to trick me. Maybe that was a foul, but I didn't call it. So, his getting foul calls is a struggle for him right now
That's
too.
a
So
very good point. Because
yeah,
I didn't. You know what? There was times where I'm like, okay, wait, he's not getting any calls though. It's one thing to see him try to bait a little bit. Okay, everyone tries it, but there was moments where I actually saw him physically get touched, and I'm like, okay, are we just not calling fouls on James Harden anymore? Like, is this was there a coup on James Harden's career? Like, okay, listen, y'all, we're completely jumping ship on James Harden.
it might
Time
have been.
to and
It might have been NBA meeting. Like, hey guys, listen, the product is this. You know what I mean? The fans don't want to watch 40 free throws a game. We stop calling it. Maybe they were just at a round table, like, literally, stop calling it. This guy's manipulating the game. Stop calling it. That might have happened.
wow, wow. Let me ask you this though, because we're going to get into a lot of things that need to happen and so on and so forth. But I kind of want to have some. I kind of want to have some revisionist history a little bit. Do you think it was a mistake trading for him in particular? Not trading Ben Simmons away, but do you think it was a mistake trading for him specifically?
No, I don't actually. A lot of people are really coming at Daryl Morey right now. But I don't think any of the other options were championship level options either. I think Daryl took the biggest chance at getting a star that could help you get a championship next to Joel Embiid. A lot of people are saying we should have taken the Tyrese Halliburton deal and kept Seth Curry and Andre Drummond and our draft picks and got Halliburton and Buddy Hield. Does Halliburton and Buddy Hield deliver you an NBA championship this season? I don't know. I just no. I'm not. I didn't see any major team leader type of guys, any game changer type of guys that were available. I think either way you slice it, you trade for James and he's out of shape this season and didn't live up to what we thought maybe he was possible, and we don't get out of the second round. Or I don't think there was anything that was a clear cut like you should have done this
Right.
type of thing. It's easy to say after we flop in the second round, but I think Daryl took a chance, and then it looked good for 4 games, and then it it fell off a cliff real quick. But I think he had to do it. Ben Simmons, tied his arms behind his back, really.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Definitely James Harden, you can do a lot worse. And we still got more from him, in my humble opinion, than we ever would have got from Ben Simmons. And sure, we probably sacrificed perimeter defense, but you know, you can recover that in a way, just be creative, just playing hustling a little harder, right? But just to play devil's advocate, right? You can make an argument because remember the Sixers were in the flow even prior to the trade. They were flowing through Joel Embiid. Tyrese Maxey was still doing Tyrese Maxey things. His game elevated slightly better, slightly more with James Harden, but Tyrese Maxey was still a threat to score on the perimeter on all 3 levels, so on and so forth. But just to play devil's advocate, you mentioned the Tyrese Halliburton and or Buddy Hield deal, right? Our problem was we lacked creative scoring off the bench and role players guy that can kind of create their own bucket, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it fair to say like you can make an argument that bringing in those guys in would have made us that much more lethal or versatile? Because think about the teams that are in the Eastern Conference Finals right now.
Definitely, yeah. Because,
Jimmy
because
Butler,
I
you
don't
know,
mean to cut you off, but
yeah,
last playoffs when Ben Simmons completely didn't show up, Seth Curry averaged 20 points per game the entire playoffs. So I'm not. Yeah, it definitely would have made us more versatile, and we would have had him and Buddy Hield and Halliburton. Those are 3 ball handling shooters that can get a bucket. So definitely would have helped that aspect of the game for sure.
yeah, because like you think about the current teams in the Eastern Conference Finals in particular, right? The Boston Celtics and the Miami Heat. Now, granted, both those teams are the number 1 and number 2 seed, so that tells me they were the best. Like they were the best teams, and they weren't pretenders in the East. So I kind of respect the way it kind of fell out, just from that perspective. That okay, the number 1 and number 2 seed in these conference finals, okay, that's kind of how it's supposed to be in a perfect world. But when you think about the way those teams are built, the Miami Heat in particular, Jimmy Butler is. Would you consider Jimmy Butler a superstar?
No, I wouldn't say superstar. I don't think he's a. Well, I mean, he played like a superstar against us in that second round. He averaged like 35 points a game or something. But
Right.
no, I wouldn't call him a superstar. He just comes off as like a Draymond Green to me, like
He's
a
a fr-
high level glue guy.
fringe. Oh, okay, because I was going to say fringe. Like I feel like Jimmy Butler can. I don't want to slight him because I know what he did for us and how he changed our offense when he played for us. So, if anything, I would consider him a star. He's definitely a star, a fringe. Yeah, I'll call him a star. I'll call him a star.
Yeah.
And he's their best player. And then after that, and after Jimmy Butler, it's just because let's be totally honest. I like Kyle Lowry, but he's a glorified role player at this point in his career. But you think about the Miami Heat, the way they're built, it's Jimmy Butler and then it's everybody else. But the roster is built nicely. You think about the Boston Celtics, Jason Tatum, who is a superstar. Then you got Jaylen Brown, who was a star, fringe star. He's in that area. And then there's everyone else. You know what I mean? So it's like these teams that are in the Eastern Conference Finals, they don't have these. How can I say? They're filled with talented guys that know their role, talented glue guys. And the Sixers, in my humble opinion, I talked about it on one of my live streams a couple of days ago. But the Sixers lacked glue guys that can score, guys that aren't afraid to speak up. You know what I'm saying? Like you see guys on the Boston Celtics like a Marcus Smart, or a Grant Williams. Those guys are vocal. talking to their superstars like, "Hey, listen, you that guy, yeah." Like, remember that meme when Draymond
The
was talking to
intensity,
KD?
man. The
Like,
intensity.
you know that meme with Draymond Green talking to KD? He poking him in the chest like this.
Yeah.
Like you that we ain't got no guys like that on his team, and it showed. The Miami Heat, they got glue guys that do their job and they get it done. They hustle. PJ Tucker, Max Strus. You know what I'm saying? Like, listen, it was so bad for us. Duncan Robinson barely played, and he's arguably their best shooter. Like
Yeah.
they just said, "Listen, Duncan, this series not for you. It's okay. We got, we good."
That's another Eric Spoelstra thing. You know what I mean? He's not afraid to sit down a $90 million guy because he feels like he doesn't fit the team that they're playing. I don't think that would ever happen in this organization. If we paid a guy $90 million, he'd be on the floor for 40 minutes every playoff game, whether he was getting smoked left and right or not. That's just Eric Spoelstra knows what he's doing, and he's respected by the ownership and the management, and they let him run the ship, and he turns out to be right. A lot of the times.
Exactly.
So would you say the main? Would you say that would be the main thing that the Sixers need to do this offseason is get those intensity type of guys? Because that seems to be what everyone's saying, and I pretty much agree with it.
I think it's more than that, though. I think it's a little more than that. I think you got to make some front office moves too. And what I mean by that is, outside of just bringing in some guys, you got to move. So you got to move some guys. And if I'm being completely honest with you, if I'm being completely honest, bro, I'm not going to. As much as I admire Tobias Harris for actually accepting his role in the playoffs and playing hard, because he played great defense in round one, he did what he could in round two. He tried to, him and Tyrese Maxey tried to carry in games 1 and 2. They couldn't really carry us over the hump. I think it was a game where Tobias had like 27, 28, and Maxey had like 30 something. Like, they tried, but they just couldn't get it done. But if I'm being completely honest, now there's no better time than now to trade Tobias Harris.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
There's no better time because he played actually very well in the playoffs.
Yep,
very well.
We were calling him trade value Toby.
Exactly. Like Tobias, let's be totally honest. Tobias Harris, let's just look at it from this perspective. Give me 1 second. I got it right here. Tobias Harris in the most recent game. Okay, let's just start from the beginning of the playoffs, right? Game 1 of the playoffs, he dropped 26. He dropped 20. Okay, so look, the first round with Toronto, he dropped 26, 20, 11, 15, 16, 19. For a fourth option, those are great numbers.
Oh yeah.
And in the Miami Heat series, he dropped 27, 21, 9, 13, 12, 14. So only one game in the playoffs when he had less than 10 points. Everything else, he was putting up, fourth option type numbers. And then he had those games where he would, give you a dub or more. Like he had, matter of fact, he had 4 games in his playoffs where he put up over 20 points.
The problem is he should be on a 4-year, $90 million contract. Not
exactly
a 5-year, 180.
Exactly.
So that's why it's been hard. Daryl was trying to move him in the whole Ben Simmons situation. He was trying to attach him to Ben Simmons. Like, hey, Sacramento, if you take Tobias also, we'll throw in this, or this. Like, he tried, but it's hard to move that contract for a, 17-point per game player at the end of the day.
Call OKC. They the kings of taking in bad contracts.
That's what we did with Al Horford. They didn't even play him. They just took that first-round pick and sat him down. They said, hey, we'll give him his $100 million. We don't care. We're stacking draft picks over here. That was what we were doing during the tanking years. We were buying out players. I remember Mo Williams from the Cavs didn't play for us at all. Danny Granger we bought out, didn't play a day for us. There were so many jokes about players that we signed, and it was like they would show his Sixers career, and it was all zeros because he never played a game. We just sign him and buy him out because they were throwing us draft picks. Yeah, you can find a team like that. Yeah, Connor, thanks for the support. I'd keep Milton and Reed. Glenn made them go missing in action after one bad game instead of letting them play through it. No one could get better with that BS. I don't know if Shake or Paul Reed have maybe Paul Reed has trade value at his young age with his athletic and rebound. I don't think you get rid of Paul Reed just because he's an energy guy that can rebound and is cheap. Shake Milton is what he is. I don't know if he has any trade value or not. He's just kind of one of those guys, I think, came out of the G League and is going to just be there. Maybe he gets waived some if we have some bigger free agent signings. Maybe he gets released or whatever. I don't know what his contract is, but yeah, I don't think you have to oh my God, we have to keep Shake Milton or we have to keep Paul Reed. Like, I like him, but
it's unfortunate for Paul Reed because I feel like he wasn't given a fair shot at development this year.
Definitely
and
not.
it's really beginning to like bother me because if you pay attention to teams like Golden State, teams like Memphis, you know,
Yeah.
they are they are investing in their young guys. They
Yep.
are they are telling their young guys hoop
Yeah.
and then the cream gonna rise to the top, right?
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like a guy not gonna get better, just keep standing on the bench and getting dropped down to the G League and elevated and ain't doing nothing. Like you can't
Yeah.
like Charles Bassey and
Yep.
like I don't know what we're doing with the kid Jerry Springer. What's his name? Like
Jaden Springer. Yep.
Jaden Springer. Like I
Yeah.
I
Especially
just
like
don't
it.
I just don't know like who are we developing besides Tyrese Maxey and Tyrese Maxey.
Right.
I feel like that's all Sam Cassell.
That's all Sam Cassell, and that's only because Ben Simmons quit. And we didn't have a point guard. He had to start. In a perfect world, Maxey comes off the bench for like 3 years and is the sixth man of the year and things like that. In a perfect world, but yeah, and it's not rocket science either. Like at the end of a season when basically the playoff seedings are already locked, that should be the time that you're throwing in Charles Bassey. Start him at center. Let him play 40 minutes. See what he has. Doc Rivers just never, ever, ever takes a chance. He would rather. Look, what benefit is there of playing DeAndre Jordan the last 10 games of the regular season or playing Paul Millsap the last, and then at backup center I'm talking, or whatever, any games that Joel sat out or whatever, and then you get to the playoffs, Joel gets hurt, and you're like, oh, I only have the 40-year-old guy that I played the whole season because I didn't try to develop any of these young guys. I don't have a crystal ball, but I really think in a better led situation, you would see Isaiah Joe turn into a serviceable
That's what
NBA
I'm
player.
saying. Like you
You would
got
see Paul Reed. You would see Charles Bassey. Charles Bassey played in November against Jokic and had 12 rebounds and 5 blocks. The guy can play. He was the most NBA ready player in that draft. He was literally listed as the most NBA ready player. He has a post game. He can rebound. He's 6'10" and can jump. He has a big muscular body. Like he looks like an NBA player. He's out here in the G League catching alley-oops one-handed over top of dudes. He shouldn't even be close to the G League.
right.
It's Doc
Paul
Rivers.
Reed.
That's why I'm frustrated
Wasn't
that
Paul Reed the not to cut you off, but
G League
wasn't Paul
MVP. Yeah.
G League MVP and stuff like that and all that? Like my thing is that stuff just doesn't go away. Like and I feel like those guys they're being hidden on the roster. And I'm gonna be honest, like listen, I love Paul Reed's build. Long guy, 6'9", 6'10", rangy, athletic. You know what I'm saying? Like if he works at it, he actually has a decent mid range when given the opportunity. But I feel like he doesn't get enough opportunity, so he can't really get warm. But like
Doesn't
you
look good,
know,
but it goes in. It's one of those like Hakeem Noah type of jumpers. You're like, ooh, what was
yeah,
that? And he hits it.
right. So it's like you got guys like Paul Reed, Isaiah Joe on the bench, Charles Bassey. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, Isaiah Joe. The moment we traded Steph Curry, my light bulb went off. Okay, Isaiah Joe, you getting mad minutes because you better come out, you better become my new sniper. Isaiah Joe was a sniper for Arkansas. That was his. He was a sniper. I was looking up some of his old tape. He was a sniper in college, and a guy like that, you just got to build his confidence up. Keep letting him play. He let him get stronger. Let him get used to that NBA contact. He going to elevate. There's no reason why Isaiah Joe couldn't have been our Max Strus. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
If
exactly.
if he was given the opportunity, there's no reason why Paul Reed couldn't
And it's
even.
not. And it's not like he wasn't getting minutes because you had Tyler Hero coming off the bench. You had Furkan Korkmaz. Doc was playing him for 3 straight months. The guy
who
was
became unplayable all of a sudden.
guy
It's
was
crazy.
5 for 78 or something like that. Like, and he just kept playing him. What benefit is there? You might as well just throw the other guy in there and see what he has. But Doc just won't. He doesn't adjust, and it shows in his blown playoff leads throughout his career. Everything that is negatively like put out there about Doc Rivers is all about his unwillingness to change what he's doing. He has a plan, and he's like, this is what we're doing. And when all of the flags turn red, he says, nope, this is what we're doing. And he just keeps doing it.
Man, that's
You're
a
up.
fact.
You're
Man.
up 3-1. How many 3-1 leads did he blow? You're up 3-1. The other coach adjusts. They start beating you, and you just keep doing the same thing. And Paul George said it like Pat Beverly. No, Pat Beverly loves him, but Paul George said it Terrence Mann's mom had an article about how Doc Rivers is not the right coach for her son. Terrence Mann was getting 0 minutes under Doc Rivers. Now he averages 10 points per game off the bench the very next year under Tyronn Lue. There's too many signs for me that tells me Doc Rivers is not benefiting anything. Well, I don't see the reason to bring him back. But apparently they're going to. That's what Daryl Morey said. At least that's what he said that sitting next to him in a press conference.
Brian, I'm about to say, like, what are you going to say? Yeah, nah, I'm gonna fire you right here. Like, you know what I mean?
So I still have hope that they'll move on. I just don't see the benefit of keeping him. I know it's like,
they will after the season.
The coach
they will
every year, nothing happens. But I'm like, I don't see it. Go ahead.
Yeah. I'll be honest. I don't see what. Especially after watching it for 2 seasons. And real quick, y'all, we are live on 2 channels. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. We are live on Running Back Philly, and we're also live on Chalk It Up Sports. Make sure you guys subscribe to your boy. Look, I'm trying to catch up with my man DJ Eastwood, man. My man has been doing his thing for a while. He grinded. I'm trying to catch up to the God. You feel what I'm saying? So make sure you guys subscribe, man. Help me get where he is, and just continue supporting.
Yeah. And Tone does his research, man. Look at the guy. He's out here. He's pulling up stats left and right. He's got a pen out. This dude puts in the work, man. People just think I'm funny. That's why they.
He said people just think I'm funny.
You're out here doing work. I respect it, man. I respect it.
Well, bro, like, what's so crazy? Like, maybe I need to spice up my personality because I'm not as controversial as you. You know what I mean? Like, you with the smoke all the time, bro. It's sometimes I'm just like, you know what? I'm just trying to keep my head down.
Hey, at the end of the day, no engagement is what do they say? All engagement is good engagement.
Exactly. There's no such thing as bad press, right?
No such thing as bad press, man. So when I first started doing YouTube, man, there was a lot of negative comments and when my videos only had like 3, 4, 5 comments and 3 of them were negative, it really gets you, and you're like, oh man, I suck, or I shouldn't have said that, or whatever. But then I just learned to look at the views and just look at the likes and the views, and the negative comments are like restaurant reviews. People only comment when they're mad, so it's really hard to balance it. But I just got to the point where it's like, I'm just going to say what the hell I think, and if people like it, they like it. If they hate it, they hate it. I'm going to keep it going.
Yeah, exactly. And that's basically like how I got to that point. Like at first I was in the area like, okay, I want people to like me. But then I got to a point where I'm just going to be me, and if you rock with me, you rock with me. If you don't, hey, listen, you'll find your way to the party. It is what it is.
Yeah, facts.
You know what I mean? But like, Doc Rivers, like you said, I don't see what he brought to the table from Brett Brown. I just don't see it. The only thing I can probably give him credit for is maybe holding Joel and be more accountable. But I felt like that was coming anyway. I felt like that was coming at some point, regardless. Like, Joel Embiid, he said he credits, his son being born more so than Doc Rivers, than him taking care of his body. And, he said, I want my son to know that his dad was one of the greatest. Like, and that was his motivator. Like, I don't see what Doc Rivers brings to the table. So to your point, he's going to be going at the next season, especially if they don't get out of that second round. Trust and believe. And
it's frustrating because I always want to be positive going into a Sixers season. And if we're coming back with Doc Rivers, this is going to be the most negative offseason I've had on this YouTube channel. I can't be positive. I don't see anything better that's going to happen under Doc Rivers. The only time he won was with a super team. The only super team in the league at the time, by the way. LeBron James left Cleveland to go build a super team to take down that super team. The only time he won, he had 4 Hall of Famers on his squad. So you have to have better. Literally, you have to trump the other team with talent to win with Doc Rivers, because he's not going to find a diamond in the rough. He's not going to do anything strategic to outcoach the guy on the other sideline. It's just
he also has not shown that he is a developer of talent. Like who has he developed?
Nobody. He takes credit for Rajon Rondo for some reason, but Rondo was just a point god from 20 years old. He was just that naturally just, no look behind the back over his shoulder. Like, that dude was crazy. He had a 0.22 assist game one time. Shot the ball like twice the whole game, had 22 assists. That was a natural, just rare talent, and Doc Rivers takes credit for that.
I don't see how he does this. And Rajon Rondo is nothing but a Chris Paul without an HR department. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's just as knowledgeable about the game. He may not be as potent offensively, but Rajon Rondo has a 3-point shot now. But nonetheless, Doc Rivers, he my whole I'm real big on player development, and you can't just keep like trying to bring in guys and these trying to fit these puzzle pieces together and square pegs and round holes. Like you gotta try to build a legit team. I felt like they built this team like, all right, Joel Embiid and everybody else just filling the gaps. It's like, no, like you gotta Miami is a team. Boston is a team. I'm gonna be honest, I'm so proud of Boston because of where they were at the first half of the season, and they got a new head coach. Like it's just I just love what they've built and how they were able to turn the page and how they play for him. I don't see these guys playing for Doc. I'm gonna be totally honest with you. I think these guys actually start tuning Doc out after a while.
There was reports and rumors that Doc's like certain players aren't feeling him in the locker room and things like that. I don't think he's a very open-minded guy. I think he's very closed-minded. My way, the highway. This is what is right. Doesn't listen to anyone's opinion. Uh, Time Cop says, "Do we need a wing or do we need a power forward?"
Good question. I would say we need a wing because as much as I love Tobias Harris, he's very limited offensively when it comes to putting the ball on the floor. Like when he's
Yeah.
driving in the fast break, he doesn't go right to the rim. He drives, he looks around, and then he gets into this post up. Like it's really annoying. And I'm like, bro, like it's annoying when I see the lane, and I'm like, just go. They just go to the rim, make them foul you, do something. And he doesn't do that. This team isn't athletic enough. The
No,
most athletic
not at all.
player we have, the most athletic player we have is Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, give me one. I need one dude that I don't care if he can shoot at all. I need that one kid that just dunks on like three people and screams. Like one of the just give me a freak athlete, please, somewhere. There's one down the street. There's one all over the place. I'm not saying he can make it to the NBA, but I'm just saying I need to see like a young Andre Iguodala type of guy that, is just a crazy athlete. Um,
Right, right.
with
Now let
with
me
with,
ask you this.
with some sort of basketball skill because Matisse Thybulle is a crazy athlete and has no idea how to play the game.
Oh my god,
If Thybulle,
I saw your video about him, bro. Oh my god,
because now that I just
you are so right. They need to get rid of him before the league finds out about him.
because now that I think about it, like you've seen plays that Matisse Thybulle has made where he almost jumps from the free throw line and cocks the ball behind his head. This dude could be he could be so good and he has no idea how to use his athleticism to dominate or to make anything happen on the offensive end, and it's frustrating. But I think he's just like a defensive back playing in the NBA. Seriously, man. And the Eagles secondary isn't looking any better than it did last year. So Matisse, what's up,
Oh
bro?
my
Like,
god,
give him a set of shoulder
you
pads.
could call him a safety.
6'7",
Yo,
6'7" safety out here. Let's go.
oh my god, you know what's so crazy, man? Matisse Thybulle was virtually unplayable in these playoffs.
Yeah,
That's the sad part about it. He was virtually unplayable in the playoffs. He didn't even help when he came back from, Canada banned him or whatever. Or the COVID stuff. He couldn't. He wasn't even useful in that series. Like Batiste Thybulle, I didn't see his value in the playoffs this year. I didn't see it at all.
yeah,
He couldn't stay in front of Jimmy Butler, and even if he could, he was such a liability offensively. It was like you had to pick your poison. And like this team doesn't have. You know what this team has? They have guys that do one thing okay, but they don't have guys that do two things well. Like we don't have a legit 3 and D guy. You know what I'm saying? We don't have someone who is a playmaker and can also slash to the rim. Like it seemed like these guys are just very. The bench is very one dimensional. Like our bench almost took. Let's be totally honest. You can make an argument that we was playing 5-on-11 basketball. All playoffs. Like it was our starting lineup versus
yeah.
everybody else because our bench was virtually non-existent. Niang became obsolete. Shake Milton became obsolete. Like these guys just were, and I like Niang, but he can't be your only bench guy. That's my thing. I like Niang. You need to add more. You need to add more around that. So, the free agent pool. I know we got to make some moves, but the free agent pool is really not that enticing. But if I just I'm gonna throw some names at you and just tell me what you think. Like, you know, uh, Gary Harris, Zach Levine,
Yep.
uh,
Yep.
you know, uh, Joe Ingles. I like Joe Ingles because of the way he plays the game. He's a dog, low key.
Oh
Like
yeah,
he was giving. I remember that. I remember one year
he's a
it
real
was
Australian. You know,
a,
the
a,
Australia.
a real
Yeah,
Australian, exactly.
The Australians that hit that still watch my channel and became fans of the NBA because of Ben Simmons, that now hate Ben Simmons, they don't even claim him anymore. Like Joe Ingles is the epitome of Australia. They are like hard nosed, like you know what I mean. Play a hard nosed game, get beat up, lose a tooth or something, and then go pound some beers like at the local pub right after that. Like that dude is a dog. He really is, and he's big. He
Right.
can defend.
Exactly, exactly, and he can shoot. Like he's really a sniper. Like he had got hurt earlier in the season and he didn't play at all. But the way he played with a certain swag about him. Like I vividly remember that Utah OKC series from a few years back where he was giving Paul George all kinds of hell, and Paul George was really like he was really irritating Paul George, but other guys that they like. I'll be honest, I wouldn't be mad if the Sixers went after Tyus Jones from Memphis. He's a free agent this summer. You know what I
Yeah, I
mean?
like him too. Yep.
I
He had
like
a lot of
Tyus Jones.
he had a lot of big plays in that series when John Morant went down.
Yeah, and he has. I think he has the best assist to turnover ratio in the NBA. Like he doesn't turn the ball over. He has the best assist to turnover ratio in NBA history.
He's been in the league for a little while, right?
Like 6 or 7 years. I think he won
North
he
Carolina or Duke?
no was it no I think you're right. It was Duke. It was
Yeah, I
Duke. He
think
won.
so.
Yeah, yep. He played for Duke, and this team just needs athletic guys on the wing, and we had like guys that don't turn the ball. We turn the ball over so much, and I don't understand it.
It's miscommunication things too. I was watching this heat check video that was showing this one play where Tyrese Maxey tries to pass the ball to Harden like at half court, and the Heat are like basically full court pressing, and Oladipo steals the ball real easily. James doesn't even try to chase him down, and then the crowd starts booing and all these things. But when you watch it in slow motion, Tobias was like supposed to set a screen at half court for James to run around and Maxey to give it to him, and Maxey throws the ball. Tobias didn't even really set a screen. Oladipo just ran right past him and jumped the pass and stole it. Like it's just there's so many things that we like the little fine details that we just don't, we just put in. We just look lazy, or we don't do things 100%. And then Maxey's yelling at Harden. Harden's yelling at Maxey. It's like, what's going on here?
What do you make of that? Because I'm hearing like different things. I'm hearing that they got into it on the sideline. Then I'm also hearing that in reality, Sam Cassell actually called him over. So and that's why he moved it. He set away from James Harden because Sam Cassell called. I'm just hearing too many different things about Maxey and James
No,
Harden on the sideline.
that video, James comes over and sits next to him, and then I think Sam
Maxey
Cassell called
moved.
Maxey over.
Okay.
And then he got up and ran over to Sam Cassell. So it looked like James sat down and he got up right away, but I don't think that. I don't think either of those guys are have anything against each other. But I do like the fire from Maxey. I do like the fact that he's 21. He's not afraid to yell at James Harden. You know what I mean? Like, yo, bro, you're supposed to go right here. I'm giving you the ball. What's up? Like, I like his. I like that he stands up for himself and has that confidence at a young age. But
I'm glad as well because it's players that shrink when they're next to superstars, when they're next to certain guys, and he clearly is not that. And that that leads me to something I want to ask you too. What do you think needs to happen for Maxey this offseason? I mean, he's already taken his game to another level from his rookie season to now. He averaged 20 in the playoffs. That's compared to how much he averaged last year in the playoffs, like 10 or 12 or something like that, like maybe 15. I can't remember, maybe 14. But he took his game to another level, and Tyrese Maxey, I have high hopes for him. I'm like this, like honestly, man, he like the sky is truly the limit for this kid. If he just continues to, I guess you'll say, if he stays
spurts,
healthy.
man. He had great spurts in the playoffs. I think he fed off of the Philadelphia crowd a lot when that positive energy, the just encouragement, and you just feel good on your home court, man. And he would knock down a couple of shots, and like they say, you see the ball go in, and the rim gets bigger. Like there was games where he would just start firing away, and once that three started to fall, then it opened up everything else. And when he dropped 38 against Toronto, he just looked like a superstar.
Right.
And then
let me say something to you real quick about him. This kid is going to the moon, and I'm gonna tell you why. His first year with the Sixers, last year in the playoffs, he averaged 6 points. He shot 63% from the free throw line, 32% from the three, and 43% from the field. This year in the playoffs, he shot 48% from the field. He shot 37% from three. So his shooting was a little down in the playoffs. But anyway, but he improved from the year before. But shot 48% from the field, 37% from three, 94% from the free throw line, and
Yeah,
20 points. That's a 14-point
bro.
increase from
And
like
if you look
he
at, I might make a whole video on just that one off season because if you look at even his jump shot form changed a little bit. It's
improved.
like it's a higher release. He gets his legs under him more. He did so much in one off season. Yeah, man.
Very
Like
good point. Last season
yeah,
he had a lot of last season a lot of his threes came up short, and he got
yeah.
stronger.
He had like this leaning forward, like chest level type of jumper in college, and he shot 29% from three at Kentucky, and he shot 29% his rookie season, or 30% on the dot or something like that. And then one off season, he shot the third highest 3-point percentage in the entire NBA in this regular season this year. So that's just a ridiculous leap. So I like that you said that because I was watching this Colin Cowherd podcast earlier with Rick Bucher, and he said I don't know how great Tyrese Maxey can be. Maybe this is his ceiling. And I'm like, he just jumped up so much in one off season.
Hold on, wait.
That's what he said.
He only been in the league for 2 years,
Right.
and he did that in one off season. Are
Yeah.
you like sometimes?
Like,
And
so
you know what?
imagine what he can do in 2 or 3 or 4.
I you know it's a shame because I like Rick Booker, but I feel like the longer I liked Rick Booker earlier on in his Fox Sports days. I feel like I feel like the more spots they gave him, the more outlandish his takes became. Because
Yeah.
there was a period where
They're trying
Rick
to
Booker,
comment on things that they don't really watch intently. That's how it comes off to me. Colin Cowherd
yeah,
admitted one time that he has guys send him stats and stuff about the games that are happening. Like he was like, I can't watch every game at the same time. So and then you do a show the next day and try to give your opinion on something that you literally just admitted you didn't watch. So
yeah, and I knew that about Colin, but Rick in particular, like he actually started off as a basketball mind that I respected, and then like I'm starting to just his takes are just starting to come off as it's starting to be really performative to me. Like he used to actually have great basketball takes, and now, like I said, the more spots he's getting, now it seems like he's just performing. And I don't know, man. I
that's
don't
what
know.
it is. It's entertainment. That's what it is. They want the next Stephen A. Smith. ESPN just got I don't even know the guy's name, but he's like Skip Bayless 2.0. Kind of looks
Or
like
you
his
talking about Mad Dog?
like foster brother or something. Like I'm like, well, I'm like, where did they get Skip Bayless 2.0 to scream at Stephen A? Like, we need another guy that can scream at Stephen A. Like, all they care about is the entertainment
Yo,
factor. It's
yeah,
not. It's not about. It's about. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it is what it is. But also that once so much money gets into something, man. Listen, somebody came to me and said, hey, the money I'm making right now, and they said, hey, I'll give you $20 million to go on this show and purposely argue with somebody else. There's life-changing money that you just I love sports, but I'm taking the $20 million. I'm sorry.
listen, man. Look, I grew up. Listen, I grew up in the projects of Philly. So listen, you telling me all I gotta do is entertain mother effers and just
They call it a
argue.
sellout. They call it a sellout. I can't wait to sell out. I'm letting you know
Listen,
that
my
right
thing
now. I'm
is
taking the 20
you
million.
can only sell out if someone's willing to buy in. And my thing is like people can say what they want. I ain't mad at Stephen A for getting his 10, 15, 20 million a year. I ain't mad at it. like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't hate it. Of course I could nitpick what they say and say, oh, they don't know what they're talking about. But I can't hate the game. I can't hate it. I really can't. You know what I'm saying?
Aaron Kavich said that the problem is that Shake is our fifth best player, sixth if Danny is on.
Yo,
That
man, I
lack
could
of depth is
man,
crazy.
Danny, man, tore his ACL and his LCL.
Yeah, I think
He
Danny
might
Grenade's done.
he might as well retire, if I'm being honest. If I'm him, I'm
I think he's
retiring.
done.
He needs to be done. Like that's the Carson Wentz injury. He ain't coming back from that.
Yeah, I think he's going to be out. If he comes back, that'd be impressive. I think he does. He is competitive. He likes playing the game. He still wants to. If he rehabs it and gets the whole thing done and comes back, I don't think he'll be back next year at all. It would take a lot for him to even show up in the playoffs for a team next season. It's gonna be two. It's gonna be two whole off seasons for Danny Green, I think, until you see him play basketball again.
Mhm.
But he might come back then. Who knows, man? I mean, he stays in pretty good shape for his age. He can
He
he can
does.
he can shoot threes.
Let me ask you
If I
this:
was him, man, I listen. You gave everything to the game. You're gonna be now 38 when you return after this.
Right, three-time
I'm
champion, three
calling it,
different
brother.
teams. You
Yeah,
ain't got to prove.
I'm
You ain't got to
calling it.
prove nothing. I'm
Yeah,
calling
I'm
it, man.
calling it.
Listen, you got a podcast now. Like you going like, trust me. Like he gonna have more time to do that. Watch, he say, you know what? I'm making more money. I'm making a lot of money doing my podcast. Like, let me just fall back. But like, let me ask you this though. What was your thoughts on Jimmy Butler saying Tobias Harris over me? What was your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't understand that because that's not what happened. Is like
And
from
that's what I
from
want.
what I understand.
And that's what I'm going to dig in on because the narrative was the
Unless the front
narrative,
office lied about it, unless
and
everybody
that's
lied.
and that's what I'm saying. Like, and that's where things get a little interesting because the original. All right, how I knew it at I knew it as this. I knew it as okay. Jimmy Butler didn't like the way things were ran over there, and also Ben Simmons didn't want Jimmy Butler there
Yep.
because the ball was being taken out of his hands. So those are the reasons why. And also on top of that, we all knew Jimmy wanted to get to Miami, but money talk. If you pay him enough, he'll play on Mars.
Well, I
So,
actually, I actually don't. His comment after the game said, "I wish I was still." He didn't say Joel Embiid's team. He said, "I wish I was still on that team." And then he took it back and he said, "I
but I
love
love
Miami. Don't get
Miami.
me wrong,
Yeah, exactly. And
because he
because
loved Philly fans."
he fit in perfectly, and that's why
Yeah.
like it really blows me like to understand like what was the and that's how I know. I think he, I think he took it as they chose Tobias Harris over him because that's what the optics say. They paid him, they didn't pay you. But in reality, they chose Ben. They chose to protect Ben Simmons over bringing you in or keeping you there. And look where Ben Simmons is now. Look where we are now, and look where Jimmy Butler is now.
There was a thing with Brett Brown too, where there was a film session and Jimmy literally stood up and said, "What are we doing here?" And there was like a discrepancy between him and Brett Brown, and he was not a fan of Brett Brown, and there was a rumor that they were going to give him a max, but they asked Brett Brown, "Do you think you can keep him under control?"
I
And
don't
he
like that. I'll be honest, I don't
no,
like that.
hell no, and he took
I'm
serious
a fucking,
offense to that.
I'm a person, not a dog. Like, what are you talking about?
Right. And he probably, if they were in the same meeting or whatever, I'm just, trying to take a guess here, but he probably either he said it to him or implied it, but he was probably like, listen, bro, it's either the Brett Brown thing here or it's me. And they said, Brett doesn't want you because you're a little outspoken and out of control. And that's the sad part because nobody in this organization knows what they're doing, and nobody has a dog mentality besides Joel Embiid. Nobody has that mentality that Jimmy Butler has. Every single person in this organization should have taken a back seat. They should have done it in Minnesota too. Everybody's finding out the hard way. This guy's not just some outspoken asshole who wants to ruin a franchise. He is literally a psychopath when it comes to his work ethic. And if players aren't living up to it, if the coach isn't living up to it, if he's going to say it because he knows what it takes to get literally where he is right now in the Eastern Conference Finals. And the
Jimmy Butler used
organization,
to be homeless. He used to be
yeah,
homeless. He literally had to
exactly.
grind. He
Yes. How
went
did he get here?
he went JUCO first.
Right.
Then had to every step of the way he had to earn it.
Right.
He
So
wasn't the
all
it's
these billionaire owners or whoever that were born with a silver spoon or got somewhere by who they knew or whatever should have just sat back and said, "We need a guy like you, and we're gonna do you and Joel Embiid on the same team." That's the main thing that drives me nuts, and I'll never get over. Him and Joel Embiid on the same team. You did it. You did it. The process worked. You have it. You have it. You have two dogs who can dominate the NBA together on the same team. Nobody else matters. If these two guys want Brett Brown out of here, ship him out 10 minutes from now. If they want Ben Simmons gone, trade him. Do whatever these two guys want. And they didn't do that. because egos came into play, and they said, this guy thinks he's going to talk to me this way. I own the team, or I'm the GM, or whatever. That's what it is.
Yeah, and I almost forgot. Shout out to Sean Ford. Brett Brown traded Mikal Bridges. I was sick when that happened. I was so sick when that happened, bro, because like it would have been a perfect story. I think his mom worked for the organization or something like that.
Yeah. Yep.
Like
Villanova star. City loved him.
it was just like
And
again,
not just a Villanova star and mom worked for the team and a Philadelphia athlete. He was also the exact type of player that we were looking for at the
he was the
time.
perfect player we needed. A 3-and-D wing. And now he doing great things. Was a runner-up for Defensive Player of the Year in Phoenix.
Mikal Bridges has become overrated by Philly fans. Come on, superhero, what?
Nah,
A
bro.
defensive player of the year candidate who shot like 41% from three. I mean, he is the epitome of a young 3-and-D player, and he's about to did he get paid already? He's about to get paid if he didn't.
And we traded him for Zaire Smith, who never played a damn minute.
Yeah, that was the end all, and that's the whole dysfunction with this organization because
They
they
tinker too much. They tinker too much.
right, and there was rumor that Scott O'Neal, one of the owners, had a say in that. Like literally, he liked Zaire Smith. That's what was wrong with this whole thing was billionaires trying to play 2K with a real NBA franchise, and then they made all these mistakes, and they said, "All right, go get Daryl Morey because the fan base is we messed up." So they went and got Daryl Morey, and then Scott O'Neal bought himself out of the company. He literally bounced. He left. He was like, "I know this ship is sinking, and what we just did for 7 years is going up in flames. I'll take my money and leave because I don't want to have the repercussions of this." The whole ownership thing, man. There's so many things wrong with how this thing was ran. This whole process era, it's really it's unreal. But firing Colangelo because his wife was tweeting things about Joel or something like that on that weird thing. At least Brian Colangelo was an experienced GM, and he had probably the best roster. That 2017 roster was built by him with DeMarco Bellinelli and JJ Redick and all those guys.
Ursula and Sova, all those guys, yeah.
Yeah, he put his shooters around Ben Simmons. He had Ben playing a high-paced, rebound transition game, and he got fired for that. They let Brett Brown be the interim GM, but I don't think Brett was in charge. I think it was the owners that were telling him what to do, and he was the yes man. You know what I mean? He was literally the yes man. I also think that's why Elton Brand didn't get fired because he was a yes man too, and they sat back and they said, "Listen, our bad. We got Daryl Morey now. We're not going to say anything anymore, and we're not going to fire you because it wasn't your fault. It was us."
Let me ask you this: in a perfect world, how in a perfect world, okay, what would DJ Eastwood do if he was a GM today? What would you do to get this team, to the Eastern Conference Finals and beyond, in this offseason? What moves need to be made this offseason? What would you do?
I would tell Doc Rivers, listen, man, you're well respected. This ain't working out. See you later.
Okay.
I would promote Sam Cassell. I think he's just a perfect, young, open-minded, coach with motivation. You know what I mean? A lot of Doc Rivers. I get the same vibes that I get from James Harden, a guy that's done a lot of things, already made his money, doesn't have anything to prove really,
Right.
and
Real quick,
I
what I
don't
hate about
see
the
the
NBA?
fire.
Real quick, what I hate about the
So
NBA? Then I'll let you get back to saying what you'll do for your GM. And this is why the NFL will always trump the NBA in certain respects. The NBA, they recycle coaches way too much. And the NFL, at least you see guys get elevated from coordinator position. You see new faces come in every now and then. You see it. The NBA, they recycle. So, like, what's the head coach that just got the job for this Sacramento Kings? Mike Brown. Like, he got so many coaching opportunities, and he sucks as a head coach. He's a great assistant, but he sucks as a head coach. The highlight of his career was taking a young LeBron led team to the finals, and they got swept by the Spurs. Like, my thing is, like, the NBA does not do a great job at grooming young coaches, man. Like, and then whenever you do find them, like, for example, the Memphis coach, he came out of nowhere. I don't know who he is, but like he's doing great things over there. Boston has a great a great young head coach. And then
yeah.
like I said,
Boston's coach was an assistant in Philadelphia, and Monte Moore or not Monte Morris. What's his name? The Phoenix Suns head coach was an assistant in Philadelphia. There's three.
Monty Williams. Monty Williams.
Monty
Yeah.
Williams. Yeah. There's three. Nick Nurse was an assistant.
Mm-hmm.
Superhero said.
Nick Nurse. No, he was an assistant for Toronto. He took Dwayne Casey's job. Dwayne Casey's job, and I kind of feel bad for Dwayne Casey because I feel like if you would have given him one more year, they win that championship.
He won Coach of the Year and got fired.
That's what I'm saying. Like that I've never seen that happen before in my life.
That means the people in charge were. That means the people in charge were actually watching what was happening, and we're like, "Nah, this ain't working out." Or we like Nick Nurse, and we think he is more in touch with the players and this and that. And they moved on.
Or they just made a move for Kawhi Leonard and it made everything better. You know what I mean? Like let's be totally honest. If Dwayne Casey's like, I'm not taking nothing away from Nick Nurse, but like Dwayne, they play almost the same to me. Like the only difference is DeMar DeRozan. All they did was swap DeMar DeRozan with Kawhi Leonard, and then Golden State got hurt, and they just took a championship like that. And then LeBron went to the West at that point, so it was literally like the perfect storm for Dwayne Casey to finally get it because they were always one of the top two teams in the East. They just couldn't get past LeBron. And the one time LeBron moved, Dwayne Casey like, yes, like, it's my chance now. And then you get a phone call, hey, Dwayne, can you come downstairs for a second? And it's like, so it's crazy. But overall, man, to your point though, what would you? So you say you'll get rid of Doc Rivers?
Yeah, I'll promote Sam Cassell.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he's a young, motivated, in touch with today's game. Every practice, every little video that I see from a beat reporter, cell phone video, it's always Sam Cassell out there running drills with guys, talking to guys.
You never see Doc out there. You never see Doc on film when they're in the practice gym. Doing things like you never see him. You never see him doing anything with these guys. You always see Sam.
You know who he's like right now? He's like, and I don't know if everyone in the chat's gonna like this. If there's any hardcore Penn State fans, he's like 80-year-old Joe Paterno. The guy wasn't even on the sidelines anymore. He was up in the box. He couldn't walk anymore. He wasn't coaching, but he was making the overhead decision. All his assistants were running the game, but he would say that redshirt freshman that you like is not playing because this 5-year senior is the guy. And he was making decisions that were like, bro, that's not what should be happening, but we can't get rid of this 97-year-old guy in the box because he's a legend in this city. I mean, thank God Doc Rivers is not a legend in this city, so he doesn't really have that much pull. But that's what I see. I think Doc is just 1 foot out the door. Like, come on, man, just let's give it to somebody else. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to coach an NBA team. It's a 5-man game. People with a big ego overcomplicate the hell out of it all the time and think that they're doing some kind of brain surgery. Like, just put the right guys on the floor. Just do the common sense thing. Like, Nick Nurse was a G League coach, and now he's a good coach in Toronto. You could say the same thing about a lot of guys. A high school coach down the street could coach the right NBA players to an NBA championship. You have great talent. You find guys that fit. I don't think it's that hard of a job. I think people overcomplicate it because they have a big ego because they've been in the league for 15 years.
Exactly,
the NFL, on the other hand, the NFL takes more. The coach is more important than the NFL. I really think.
Yeah, for sure. And also, shout out to Jason Kidd, man. Like, there's this footage that came out of him being mic'd up on the sideline, and he was coaching. Like, you literally saw him coaching. You know what I'm saying? Like, and Doc Rivers, it seemed like he'd just be on the bench, just sitting there, just watching. Yelling every now and again when he get pissed off by the call. And just doing nothing, man. But
he talks about the game. He even talks about the game in his press conference, like he was a spectator in the stands. He'll be like, "Yeah, I didn't think we had any energy tonight. We didn't really move the ball in the third and fourth quarter. We didn't run any sets." And I'm like, "Are you even coaching? What to tell him what to do?"
I ain't gonna lie. He blew. And before I make this point real quick, because this is about the This is a crazy thing he said. One of the most blasphemous things he ever said. But again, make sure you guys like the live stream. We're live on 2 channels. We're live on Running Back Philly's YouTube channel. We're also live on Chalk It Up Sports, my YouTube channel. Make sure you guys subscribe, hit that like button, share, whatever you guys do to make this thing get hot. Continue to do what y'all doing. We appreciate y'all staying active in the live stream. Y'all, you guys are amazing. But he said something in one of his press conferences months ago, and So I think one of the reporters asked him a pretty detailed question, or basically asked him a question that was holding him accountable, and he had the nerve to say, "Would you ask? Would you ask?
Would
Would
you
you
ask
ask?
Pop that question?
Would,
Yeah.
would you ask Pop that question?" When he said that, I was like, "You got to be out your rabbit ass mind." Popovich is a five-time NBA champion. He's coached multiple teams to a championship. You are not even smelling Pop's jockstrap, bro. You're not even you're not even in his
That's what I mean.
stratosphere.
I don't know why he puts himself on such a pedestal, but it's detrimental. It's not. There's no benefit to it. He's he's the closest like thing to a sociopath or a narcissist I've ever seen in an NBA head coach. He thinks he is Phil Jackson. He really does. Like and it's just it's not gonna be good. I don't see Doc Rivers ever winning another championship. We're not winning next year if we bring him back. D'Angelo. Wow, that's all you would do as a GM. No, we got a little sidetracked, man.
No. No, we got
The
more. We got
next
more to
thing I
say.
would do,
Right, right, yeah. What's the
do.
next thing you do, man? D'Angelo getting a little mad. What's the next thing you'll do, man?
Thank you for reminding us, D'Angelo, though, because
I
I
appreciate that.
forgot what we were.
D'Angelo producing
Uh,
right now.
I would tell James Harden, listen, bro, you you got to take less money, or this ain't going anywhere. I would do whatever I have to do to move the Tobias Harris contract, and I would stop star hunting. Daryl Morey has said out loud once again that he is searching for another star. Um, I would go build a Memphis Grizzlies type of deep team. I would build a Boston Celtics type of team. Not that they don't have stars, but I wouldn't say they have three stars. You know what I mean? They have Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown, and then they have
High quality glue guys. High quality.
high quality pieces that fit. Dogs, defensive players, man, Grant Williams, Al Horford, even Daniel
Who would have
Tice.
saw Grant Williams shooting 7 threes in a closeout game? Like
That's crazy. That's crazy. But yeah, that's exactly what I would do. I would. You have to. This is not like a team that's like close to a championship and you need one more thing to happen. This is a team that is now, I think, pretty clearly not even close to a championship. It's not like we've been building this roster for a couple years and we need a little bit of improvement. It's actually sad how bad this roster is after 7 years of the process.
the roster has definitely regressed, and you know it's interesting because I look at teams like Milwaukee, right? I look at teams like the Warriors, and I look at teams like Miami and Memphis, and Phoenix and all those teams, and their fan base. Like, hear me out on this, right? When was the last time we, as Sixers fans, when was the last time we actually went into a game fully confident? Like, I feel like those organizations, like for example, Milwaukee, I feel like they go into every game believing they can beat anybody. I feel like their fan base is that confident. I feel like their team instills that much confidence in their fan base. Like Memphis, I feel like their fan base thinks, oh, they can run with anybody. Not on a particular night, any given night. I feel like when it comes to the Philadelphia 76ers, you're literally entering every game pessimistic. You're
It kind of feels like a struggle. It
it's
kind of
all
feels like a struggle.
it's a struggle. Exactly. Perfect way to put it.
Yep. It's been like that for a long time. 2019 season was the one that I remember, or the 2020 season. I don't know. The one where we had Al Horford, Josh Richardson, Ben Simmons, and Tobias Harris all on the floor at the same time, and
Oh
Joel
no,
Embiid.
no, that was
Five
bro.
forwards on the floor at the same time. It was mind numbing how bad it was, and how just lack of a better word, stupid it was to put that team together. Like, you gotta have no basketball IQ at all to think that was gonna work. They thought they were in the '90s, and then Brett was so stuck to two centers. Like when Joel Embiid sat out a game, he'd play Amir Johnson next to Al Horford. I'm like, what are we doing?
That is like, bro. Like, what is this? The 70s, the 80s? Like, what? Like, bro, you
We
this
couldn't get a
team
ball handling guard on the floor to save our lives, and then Trey Burke happened to be one of them, and they shipped
and
him
then
out.
you ship him out, and you keep like it. What was it? They had the option of either keeping Raul Nito or keeping him, and they kept Nito.
Yeah,
Like, what?
I don't
Like,
know.
man, like it's like I said, this team has a lot of soul searching to do, and it's too many
It might get
issues
and I don't want to be ultimately pessimistic, but this is the most pessimistic I've felt about this team in a long time
in
because
the past few years, right? Yeah,
you're supposed to be at the light at the end of the tunnel, and it doesn't feel like there's a light shining. It feels like, oh snap, we messed up for 7 straight years. Um, this could turn into the New York Knicks, where the fan base is literally chanting "sell the team" because every single year is another failure.
they're gonna waste Joel Embiid's career. I can smell it. I can feel it. And then once Joel Embiid retires, this team is gonna be irrelevant again. I just don't see. I just don't think. I just don't see the light. I don't see like the NBA's like teams are getting better. Memphis is getting better.
So that's one of
Boston
the main
getting
that's one of
better.
the main questions that so that's one of the main questions that people have been asking me. Do you blow it up at some point?
I'm not gonna lie. You don't bring Daryl Morey in if you don't plan on getting like. I feel like Daryl Morey's first couple years here, he tried to move. He tried to move some furniture around. You know what I'm saying? Like Daryl Morey, he bought the house. You know what I'm saying? He got here. He walked in and said, "Okay, it's fully furnished. All right, I'm gonna move this over here. Okay, I'm gonna add a painting over here. I'm gonna move this table over here. Okay, let's see. All right, let's see how this thing plays out. Okay, you know what? This furniture in general is not working. I need to completely overhaul the way I'm doing this right now. I think Daryl Morey wanted to see how these players were panning out this far. Just adding some things here, sprinkling little things here, and just see if it can work. And I think he sees now this roster is extremely flawed, and he's going to make some moves. And best believe not Tyrese Maxey, Tobias Harris is definitely going to be top three on the moves he's making. He sees that contract and he's thinking, and I'm telling you, it's the reason Elton Brand is not in charge anymore because that Tobias Harris contract was a death sentence for him. I really believe that. Like to pay someone who has never averaged more than 25 points in their career, that kind of money is ridiculous.
He only averaged
And
20 flat one time in Detroit. I think he averaged 20 points per game, and it was
right,
19.6 or something in LA.
right, and that's when he was like a fringe all star or something like that. Um, but like, yeah, man, I'm telling you, I got a feeling Daryl Morey is gonna move, is gonna make some moves that make us like, whoa, okay, Daryl, I didn't see that one coming. Because Daryl Morey is a mover and a shaker. That's the
Yeah.
one silver lining about this offseason that I have some optimism about. And that's how Daryl Morey does business. He's ruthless. He's cutthroat, and people know how he moves. He's like we didn't think we could move Ben Simmons, and he made a move. So I really think he's gonna find a way or find someone that's gonna take that Tobias Harris contract. Tobias Harris is on the way out, best believe. Furkan Korkmaz is on the way out, best believe. Um, but
does he have any trade value at all?
I
I
have
don't
no
even think
idea, but
I don't think he'll be
don't
in the NBA. I really don't. I don't think Furkan can play in the NBA.
don't be surprised if you see a Tobias Harris, Matisse Thybulle package with something else. I don't know. Don't be surprised though.
That's important. That's why I put that clip out yesterday because uh, Thibault is one of the guys at his age with one of the highest. Like, I don't think he has any upside. I've seen enough, and that's sad. I like the kid, but you can sell him. You can definitely sell him. People think he was on like top 5 NBA defenders at 23 years old or something like. So you can sell him definitely. People, teams that are competitive but feel like they just need a defensive spark or something like that. Yeah, but I think his time in Philly, might be over. And when you brought up what he looked like in playoffs, I wanted to say, man, we've gotten so. It's become so clear now that the playoffs are so much different than the regular season. And people would argue when we wanted to fire Brett Brown, people were like, well, you just said back-to-back 50-win seasons. And I'd say, I don't care.
I don't care.
I officially
Don't care about
100%
regular season.
do not care anymore about I don't care if you go 82-0 because you beat the Detroit Pistons on a Monday night because you did, it doesn't matter. You get to we're always with Joel Embiid on your team, you're always going to be good enough to get to the last 8 teams. You're always going to be good enough to get to the second round of the playoffs, and then you're playing good defenses and good coaches, And if you're not up to par, you're gonna get smoked. It doesn't matter if you beat the Pelicans 9 times and the Pistons and it just the playoffs are a different animal.
I'll be honest.
I'm tired of being the top 10 team and losing.
Bro, listen. I'll be honest with you. I wouldn't even care if we came in as a 6th seed or a 5th seed every single year, but we made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. We were a tough team. You know what I mean? I wouldn't care because like the bottom look like what these past few years in the playoffs have shown us is that it doesn't matter where you are. If you win, you win. And guys got to play ball now. Wait, is he serious?
Will and Jada own majority of the Sixers? Nah, Josh Harris.
No, I don't think it's it's not a majority. They're part owners for sure, but it is not majority. No, it's not at all. No, not majority. That's a funny.
Josh Harris's company is called Harris and Blitzer, and they own like 5 professional sports teams.
Yeah, they own the New Jersey Devils. Who else they own? Like
they own the New Jersey Devils, and they're part of a group that's trying to buy the Denver Broncos. That's all I know. There's another one somewhere. But yeah, I mean, Will Smith owning part of the team. Will and Jada is her name really on the paper? We gotta find this out, man.
Hey, listen, when you marry, her name on the paper, even when it's not on the paper, when her name not on the paper. You feel what I'm saying? But yeah, man, I feel like we done wrung out a lot of this Sixers stuff, man. Like, what's your final thoughts on the Sixers, and then we could close the show out, briefly touching on some Eagles stuff.
I think this is the like I said, I don't feel like there's a light at the end of the tunnel, but we have reached the end of the tunnel. It's time. It's time for big moves to be made, and Daryl Morey knows that. If you come back next season and Doc Rivers and James Harden looks sluggish game 1, this fan base is going to annihilate you every game the whole season. Josh Harris will be happy because they'll continue to buy tickets just to come here and boo and boo and boo and boo and boo. So as far as Daryl Morey's, legacy, this is the time. He has a lot of moves to make, man. He has a lot of moves to make. I think this is the end of it. This offseason's the end of it. If you come back next season and you don't look better than you did this season, then it might be time to be like, hey, Joel, we love you. We're gonna go give you what you want in another and get a whole plethora of draft picks for you, because I just don't think you can keep doing this year in and year out. And he might ask for a trade at the end of the day because,
that'd be scary.
He already doesn't seem his press conference, and that was one of the things you wrote down. What he said in his press conference. The main thing that got me was he was talking about. He said, "My whole time here, I haven't had dogs and players like a PJ Tucker." And he named him specifically, and he just seems so frustrated with 7 straight years. And I have Furkan Korkmaz and George Niang, and
he visibly saw the difference. He visibly saw the difference in his roster and theirs. Like, it's one thing to guys just play a little better, but there was such a stark difference in approach to the game.
Yeah, and he saw effort. He saw guys that want it on the other end, and he's out there with a broken face and a broken thumb. And he couldn't do what he wanted to do, but he still probably felt like he was the only one that really wanted it. And he's getting frustrated. Yeah.
You don't want that. You don't want that, man. You don't want that. But yeah, man. Just transition to some minor Eagles talk before we get out of here. What's your thoughts on the Eagles offseason right now? What's your overall thoughts on the draft and the things you've been seeing?
I like the fact that they got a linebacker, and they only got him because he fell. And I still don't even know. I still don't even know why he fell. But I don't think Howie Roseman would have touched him in the first round because he just doesn't do that. But I'm so excited that they got a linebacker like that, because when I grew up watching that 2004 team and the Jeremiah Trotters and the Ike Reeses and all those kind of dudes, man, you need that. And this team lives off of the defensive line. Howie Roseman's always lived off the defensive line. But when they don't get to the quarterback, what do you have behind it? You got Alex Singleton and Nate Gary and. So I'm happy they got a linebacker. I don't think they did much as far as the secondary. We'll see. But I think that the Jordan Davis draft pick was amazing. That's just another guy to add to that defensive line, and he's going to be an absolute stud his whole career.
As long as he keep his weight under control. As long as he keep his weight under control. because
He's a massive dude.
he's massive, man. I met him in person. He is really that big, bro. He's
The
like
offensive side of the ball, that's cool though. I want to get your opinion on Jalen Hurts. The offensive side of the ball, I think that Nick Sirianni learned last year how to survive regular season games with Jalen Hurts, but I just personally don't think Jalen Hurts is going to take you deep into the playoffs as an NFL quarterback. I think he's too limited in his passing ability, and he can win regular season games with his legs and with the quick screen type of offense and the motion offense and type of things like that, but I would predict probably they have about the same record as they did last year. They're good enough to beat up on a bunch of bad teams with a dominant offensive line, running game, dominant defensive line. But I don't think they'll mess with the really good teams in the NFL. And then I think next year and I think that's part of the reason Howie Roseman traded some of those draft picks to be able to jump up in a draft next season.
Yeah, hedge his bet. Basically trying to hedge his bet. But to your question, you know, overall, like when you think about the offense, Jalen Hurts has zero excuses, none. Like there are no, like, on top of the draft class, on top of bringing in AJ Brown, on top of the schedule, there is absolutely no excuses why the Philadelphia Eagles can't win at minimum 11 games, in my humble opinion. Like you got to take advantage of this schedule. You got to take advantage of the food that's on your plate, and you know the way I see it, and I like Jalen Hurts. I'm not gonna lie, man. He's really likable, But the reality is he's limited as a passer, and he has to show enough growth in that area for them to take him seriously, and that's the reality. The reality is he has to. I believe he completely understands the assignment. I believe he completely knows what's at stake, and and the question is, because we know he's going to, like, just because of who he is, he's going to improve. Now the question will always be, will it be enough for the Philadelphia Eagles to say, you know what, I can commit $30 million a year to this guy? You get what I'm saying? So that's going to be the biggest question, because I know a lot of people want to talk about his what he does in the running game. That's sexy, that's cool and all, but I don't care about that, because at the end of the day, when you get down to the playoffs, you got to throw that pill. You gotta throw that pill in the keyhole, and he has to show on a consistent basis that he can make the throws. Like, for me, from a numbers, I'm gonna give you two different perspectives. I'm gonna give you what I expect, what I would love to see from him from a numbers perspective, and what I would love to see him from just a pure situational football perspective. Statistically, in order for me to see growth, I need to see at minimum 39, like 38 to 39. I need between 3,800 and 4,000 passing yards. I need that. I need that amount of passing yards. I need at minimum 25 passing touchdowns. No more than 10 interceptions. He doesn't turn the ball over, so that's good. We ain't gonna worry about that for him. Which is good.
I think that's part of his issue, is that he wants to be perfect, and he hesitates because he's hesitant to make tight throws and things like that. He's not a gunslinger because he's just such a smart guy, and I think he overthinks the game a lot instead of just letting it fly. Like, I'd honestly rather him I'd rather him be a Jameis Winston, throw 30 touchdowns and 28 interceptions, honestly.
At least I know you're trying, right?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So that's my statistical perspective. 4,000 passing yards, 25 touchdowns a minimum, and less than 10 interceptions. I could care less about what he does on the ground, because he's going to do that regardless. And now from a situation football perspective, I need to see what he does at a 3rd and 12, a 3rd and 13. I need to see what he does on a 4th and 5, 4th and 6. I need to see Nick Sirianni give him the keys on certain games. Say, listen, run the offense. Listen, 2-minute drill, run it. I want to see what you do. You know what I'm saying? I need to see him make those passes, because he showed flashes. That's the thing about him. He showed flashes that he can make certain passes. Like, he had arguably one of the best throws of his career was that back shoulder touchdown through to Greg Ward in that Washington game.
Yep.
He threw that ball on the run, and I'm like, and it was perfect. All Greg Ward had to do was turn his head. And like I said, I need to see him in these situations. I need to see what you do if you're down 6, 2-minute drill. You got the ball on the 30-yard line. Can you score a touchdown to win the game? Can you throw it? What can you do when the running game is completely not working today?
Yeah.
It may not even be the opponent. It may just be the fact that the running game is not clicking today. What can you do? What will you do? Can you win us a game with your arm? What
To
happens
me,
if you're in a What happens if
to
you're in a
me, it's
shootout?
it's
Can
a
you
lot
win a
like
shootout?
this. It's a lot like the same thing I said about the NBA. The playoffs start, and you get down to those last 10 teams, 8 teams. You start to face defenses that you didn't see in the regular season. You know, you can beat up a lot of bad teams by running the ball all over them, but those good teams are going to force you to throw it. And it happens to the greatest running quarterbacks in history: Michael Vick, Cam Newton. Once you face a great defense, they're going to find a way to force you to throw the ball. They're going to spy. They're going to spy 2 linebackers. They're going to do whatever they can to keep you in the pocket and make you throw it. And can you get it done by throwing it?
Exactly, man. And it's a lot of pressure on him. I'm paying attention to Jonathan Gannon too. He had a lot of excuses last year saying, I don't have the personnel to do what I want to do. And, it's going to be a work in progress or whatever. Like, listen, I'm going to be honest with you. Now, I don't want to hear any excuse from Jonathan Gannon. You got the D tackle you wanted, the nose tackle that allows you to run those 5-2 formations, those 3-4 formations. You got a Hassan Reddick who's versatile, who's a linebacker, who's really an edge rusher at heart.
Yep.
You got a Kaiser White who's fast and rangy, can run sideline to sideline.
I was going to say the kid
Attack.
from the Chargers, right?
Yep, Kevin Chargers.
Yeah.
And top of that, you got N'Kobe Dean, a guy who's
Him.
versatile. Who else did you bring in?
How he
Who
impressed
was
me, man. He went from 0
yeah,
linebackers to 3 linebackers.
huge improvement, bro. Let me ask you this though. Like I was talking to LB about this. Would you say Howie Roseman is developing, or would you say Howie Roseman is evolving as a GM in front of our very eyes? Because I look at it like this, right? Think about how he came into the NFL. He was a lawyer at first. He was a numbers guy, a pencil
Uh-huh.
pusher. Somebody who was really good at moving contracts around and finagling the numbers and the cap space and making deals and negotiating and stuff like that. That was really how he earned his stripes in the NFL. But his weakness was evaluating talent because he wasn't a natural football guy. He had to learn the
Uh-huh.
game over a course of trial and error. But now you can make an argument that out of his past 4 draft classes, he hit on 3 out of those 4. He gave out contracts to that Josh Sweat, Jordan Mailata, Dallas Goedert draft class. That's a decent draft class. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
that's a
saying?
decent draft class.
You found a starting left tackle for the next 10, 15 years. You got a B plus A minus tight end. You have a B plus edge rusher, and then we're going to skip the Jalen Rager draft. That was just not a really good draft outside of Quez Watkins and Jack Driscoll. Um, Maybe I'm forgetting somebody, but and Jalen Hurts, yeah. But and then on top of that, because you can make an argument that Jalen Hurts draft pick was a success. He brought you to the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? You can make an argument, but that's
Yeah.
another conversation for another day.
I think he
But
really, yeah. I mean, I think he really drafted Jalen Hurts to back up Carson Wentz, and he
and
said
and
that
then
before.
no, he did. And Carson's got bent out of shape about it. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And then you think about the Devontae Smith draft class, Devontae Smith, Landon Dickerson, Kenny Gainwell, Milton Williams, guys like that.
the Gainwell
And
pick was
the
great.
Gainwell pick was crazy to me
Yeah,
because you managed to get, and let's be totally honest, Gainwell on the pecking order of this running back room was arguably number 3 or number 4 any given Sunday for the most part, either number 3 or number 4. And then Miles Sanders got hurt, got elevated to maybe number 3, number 2, depending on the game. But you got over 500 yards of production from scrimmage from him. You got 6 touchdowns from Kenny Gainwell, a guy who was arguably your number 4 running back. That is
who was
that.
number 2? Who was number 2? We're talking about Miles Sanders,
Miles Sanders, Boston Scott, Jordan Howard.
Jordan. I forgot about Jordan Howard, but he was like they weren't even using him at one point though. Then they
At,
brought him
yeah,
back.
yeah, they weren't using him at first, and then
I
once
think
Miles,
Gainwell's a stud.
I love Gainwell. Once Miles went down, Boston and Jordan Howard took over, and they were just averaging like 5 yards a carry, running over everybody. Then Miles came back. And, everything kind of took off from there. But I love what Kenny Gainwell was doing. I think he actually has better ball carrier vision than Miles Sanders. The way he
He
reads
does.
the hole,
Yep.
like he reads the hole significantly better.
I think that's what the NFL is now. It's not about a flashy running back that's going to dance around and do a Barry Sanders move. I think it's just, and that's why teams are getting over like drafting them high and paying them a lot of money because you can just get another kid out of the draft. Just take the ball and hit the hole. That's it. And
Exactly.
it's turning into a heavy passing league anyway, and it's like The Tom Brady era in New England really like set that in stone for me. A lot of times you didn't even know who the hell the running back was on those teams. You know what I mean? Like
Exactly.
James White
Sony
was there for like
Michelle.
10 years.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Sony
Sony Michelle.
Michelle. You know what I'm saying? Like, but yeah, like my question is like, would you say he's evolving as a GM in front of our very eyes, especially as a talent evaluator? Like, do you think the best is yet to come for Harry Roseman?
I think so. Yeah, I think he learned from Andy Reid's the one that hired him in 2000. Um, and I think he learned a lot from Andy Reid, and I like the fact that he learned a lot from Andy Reid because we were always competitive because Andy Reid knew the most important thing in football outside of having a quarterback to take you to the promised land is the trenches. And Howie Roseman never neglects the trenches. Every single season, he doesn't care what wide receiver you guys want, what flashy DB you guys want. He doesn't care what the sexy pick is. He's taking that 6'8", 340-pound offensive lineman. He never neglects it, and that's why you could throw a guy like Jalen Hurts back there and see what he has and still make the playoffs because that offensive line is what it is. That
Stellar.
defensive line is what it is. So I think he's maybe overvalued that or undervalued other places because he focuses so much on that, having like 9 rotating defensive linemen when you could have had a safety, when you could have had, who else. So I think he's evolving into like, okay, I got to focus on some other positions here because last year I saw that we were so weak at the linebacker position, it killed us. So I think he's evolving in that, right? But as much just things I've said about Howie Roseman with the Carson Wentz situation and the Jalen Hurts pick and all that stuff, I'm learning that he's a really good GM as far as the way that he values the offensive and defensive line. And he's a numbers guy. Every 2 weeks, it's like, oh, they restructured this contract and pushed this money to 2075 and did this and that. Like, so,
Yo, that Carson Wentz situation came full circle, didn't it?
That's crazy, man. It's just crazy the way that it turned out. And then you know what? He won that too. That's the crazy part. Like, I gotta give him credit. He had his back against the wall. He's like, oh my God, I drafted this guy to back him up because every time we get to the playoffs, he gets hurt. Then he quits, and I got to start this guy that nobody thought was a starting quarterback. I mean, he was projected to be a really good backup quarterback in the NFL. Now I'm forced to start him. What am I going to do? And he ends up with, what, 2 first-round draft picks out of the Carson Wentz trade?
Bro, it's crazy, man. It's like, I'm not going to lie, man. Arguably the ultimate finesser. Like,
yeah, seriously.
Like how he moved like a scammer. Like, it's crazy, man. It's crazy, man.
And I want to say, like, if Hurts understands what his deficiencies are and focused on those in the offseason and improves and comes back and looks better, I'll be the first one to sit up here and say, hey, shout out to Jalen Hurts for improving and fixing the things that he needed to fix. But I just see too many just flat out inaccurate, easy throws pretty much all game long. Slants, behind, in front, low, high. Deep ball is like on the money or it's like 15 yards short or it's like, I just see way too much. It's tough for me, man. I just don't see him becoming I
know you're not really. I know you're not really a Hurts guy. I know you're not really.
I just don't.
You don't see it. You don't see it. You just don't see it.
No, I think he has small hands. I think he struggles to throw a football.
I never thought about his hand size. Actually. I've never thought about his hand size before. I never thought about that.
I think he has small hands. I think he struggles to throw a football. I think he has to put his entire body into it, and it's like sometimes he gets it there, and sometimes it's so far off target. It's like, oh my God.
I think his issue really is not even power. It's timing. To me, like there are times where
he's late all the time.
I'm watching it. I'm like, you're waiting too long for them to get open. They're going to get open. Just throw the ball to the spot. That's where he has to improve, throwing the spots and trusting his receivers. And the only person
it's hard to change that. It's hard to change that because it's how he always played, and that's why he was a Heisman Trophy either winner or runner up. I don't remember, but
right. Runner up
because his accuracy numbers, his completion percentage accuracy numbers were always so high because he didn't take chances, and he waited for a guy to get open. And in college, you can wait. The guy, Devontae Smith was 30 yards past everybody. Now you're in the NFL. You can't wait.
Yeah, he was throwing the ball to CeeDee Lamb.
CeeDee Lamb, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But here's the interesting thing about Jalen Hurts in this offseason. And then we could probably start to close it out after this. he, like you said, unless he has deficiencies in his game that kind of requires like an overhaul, right? And he linked up with, I think the guy's name is Tom House or Tim House, something like that. He's Tom Brady's quarterback coach basically, and he's known for approaching the quarterback position from like with a holistic approach, whatever that means. I know what holistic means, but I don't know what it means in terms of the quarterback position. But basically, from what I heard about this guy is he breaks you down and rebuilds you all the way back up. And he's the type, and also what I learned, just by trying to study the game, the quarterback position is built from the top. I mean, built from the bottom up, not from the top down. You know what I'm saying? It's all about your feet, your footwork and your hips and all that kind of stuff. So, um, Jalen Hurts working with this top notch quarterback coach. He's worked with, like I said, the Drew Brees, Tom Brady, guys that are kind of built like him. Drew Brees, small guy. You know what I mean? So I'm curious to see. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt because at the end of the day, we ain't got no choice. He's our starting quarterback. So I really want to see what he can do, and I want to support him wholeheartedly because I like the dude honestly. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But at
Mhm.
the same time, I need to see him produce. And if he doesn't, it is what it is. We move on. Like I mean,
Yeah.
if anything, like this jersey was a gift. I'll be okay. Like you know what I mean?
That's what I
Like
mean. That's what I mean. And Howie Roseman, once again, he set this up perfectly for both scenarios. He gave this guys enough weapons now that there's no excuse. Like I gave you A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert and a strong offensive line and a plethora of running backs. There's no excuse for you not to produce. But if he doesn't, all of my weapons are young for a young quarterback to step right in there. I got
yeah.
two young stud wide receivers. Dallas Goedert's not
Our oldest weapon
he's
is 24. Our oldest weapon is like 24. Like, and
yeah.
that's like Goddard and AJ Brown. Like, they're not, you know what I'm saying? Like, and then real
So
quick, like,
I think he set it
enter,
up perfectly.
yeah, and real quick, this will be my last point. When it came to Harry Roseman and this new season in the 2022 season, I wanted to enter 2020. I wanted to enter the 2022 season having zero questions for Harry Roseman. And earlier throughout this entire offseason, I kept saying, how can you judge this kid if you're not giving him more weapons? How can you judge him if you're not putting more pieces around him for him to be successful? How can you really gauge how good he is? He got Devontae Smith and everybody else. How can you gauge it? And now you brought in AJ Brown. Then you couple that with Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, Quez Watkins. That's a beautiful repertoire of weapons. So
Yeah.
when you think about it from that perspective, like I said, I wanted to enter this season having zero questions for Harry Roseman and having all my attention focused on Jalen Hurts. And now we got exactly what we wanted. At this point, we wait and see, and now it's time to play ball.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Last year, I think people really like after that Atlanta game, people thought we were going to be amazing, and then we fell off. But I just didn't have many expectations in general because a new head coach, a quarterback who was compared to Tim Tebow, whether that's unfair or not. I mean, he's better than Tim Tebow. I'm not
He's
going there,
better.
but I'm just
He's
saying.
better in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm just saying he wasn't projected to even be an NFL starter, so I didn't have high expectations. So for them to win, what do they go 9-8 and make the playoffs? It was impressive.
Yeah, like especially the way it started. You started 2-5, and then your head coach completely overhauled the game plan completely.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm not a rah rah kind of guy. I'm not like the Eagles are better than everyone. Dallas sucks and Giants suck and you know what I mean. I just keep it real and I don't have many expectations this year either. So I can only be impressed. I can't be let down.
I ain't mad at you, bro. I ain't mad. See, like my passion runs so deep, bro. Like it's like how some people like
Oh, I
live
mean,
stream.
I play it cool, but the game's on. I'm in front of the TV, like, no, let's go, come on, you know what I mean. So
How some people like
can't
live
help it.
stream. How some people live stream and call the games, right? Like I'll be honest, bro. I
I
can't
can't do that.
live. I can't do
Nope.
that because I got to be a fan. Like, and I'm not as put together as I am now when I'm watching football. Like I'm a gladiator, bro. Like
I've had
I'm just not
I've
the same
had
person.
some friends of mine DJ the Sixers games, and I can't. I've had opportunities to DJ, in the tunnel or in a pregame party or wherever, and
Word.
and I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't even do that on a Monday night against the Atlanta Hawks. I can't do that. I can't. I can't.
Eastwood gonna be like,
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, I'm too in tune with the game. I can't do that.
yeah, I'm with you on that, man. I'm with you on that. But man, this has been a dope live stream, bro. We covered so many bases, bro.
For sure. Thank you for coming through, man.
Bro, I
Yeah,
appreciate you, bro. Sharing your platform with me, man, doing a double stream, my guy. I appreciate you. Listen, like I say, man, Eastwood is that dude, man. Running back Philly is really in full effect. And make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe to him. On top of that, make sure you guys subscribe to.
I just died. I don't know what happened. My camera.
I have no idea what happened either. But make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe to Chalking Up Sports. We listen to you guys. We're closing it out anyway. It's all good. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe to Running Back Philly. Like, comment, and subscribe to Chalk It Up Sports, man. I really appreciate you guys for allowing me to be a part of this. But Eastwood, you guys are amazing. The support is there. A lot of you guys know your stuff. A lot of you guys don't know your stuff. It is what it is. But at the end of the day, you know what I mean? The energy is amazing, you guys. Make sure you guys like and subscribe, man. Trying to continue to grow my brand, grow Chalk It Up Sports. And, look, man, the sky's the limit for everybody. Look, y'all know how I carry in Chalk It Up Sports, man. No matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. One love, stay humble, stay healthy, and most importantly, stay hungry.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna try to. I really want to keep the 4 point play thing going as we move into
Same.
the Eagles content. You know what I mean? It's a fun time, man. Like, you guys are great. You guys all have different personalities, different perspectives. Get heated, have arguments. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's funny, man. It's funny, man. Dub went to high school together, so that's what me and him, like, we go back like that, like, you know what I'm saying. Then I met Jay through Dub, and and then I've been on their podcast a handful of times. So yeah, those are my guys, man, for sure. I know, man. I know on the outside looking in, it look like I hate Jay, but I don't hate Jay, man. That's my guy, yo.
No, that's what's up, man. Friends can disagree, man. Like me and
Yeah.
my friends, you know what I mean? What are you talking about? You know what I mean? That kind of thing. But you keep it in the arena, as
Yeah.
the CP to franchise on Knicks Fan TV always says that. You keep it in the arena, man. You know what I mean? It's just sports.
It's just sports,
I respect
man.
it, man.
Yeah, for sure, man.
And I like your approach, man. You know what I mean? You're locked in. You take it serious. It's hard to find content creators that take it serious and that really want to be good at it. You know what I mean? And I noticed that in you, man. You take it seriously, and you show up prepared. And you know what I mean? I said, what do you want to talk about on this show? And you sent me a whole thing. I'm like, well, damn, I don't even have, I just got that.
It's so funny, bro, because it's so funny you brought that up, because I don't know, man. My memory's bad, right? So I gotta write everything down.
Oh, mine too.
If I don't write stuff down, bro, it literally just it goes like I'm constantly thinking of new ideas, new things I want to do, new things I want to create, new people I want to work with. And if I don't write this stuff down, if I don't use my calendar, like I'll be honest with you, bro, my phone is more of a tool than it is for fun. Like I really utilize every function of my iPhone, bro. The calendar, the reminders, the alarms, and bro, all of that stuff, bro. Color code and shit, and like, bro. Man, but yeah, bro. Overall, man, I appreciate those words, bro. That means a lot. And that
I don't know how my guy Tom Arnone on A2D Radio does it. He says no notes, man. He every show. I need some notes.
I rock with Tom too. Like, I watch his content, from a distance. One of these days I gotta connect with him and we gotta collaborate. But man, like I be paying attention. He always starts videos like, Mr. No Note, something like that, or like.
Yeah.
I'm like, huh?
He can just go off the top and cover all the bases, and he could just talk for 2 hours. I'm like,
he's
I
good.
can't do that.
He's good. I gotta give him credit, man. He's good, man. But
I'll talk for 12 minutes and forget like what else I wanted to say. Like I can't do that. So
but man, I definitely appreciate you, my guy, for showing love, man. You show love to me early, so I appreciate that, bro.
Yeah, it's all, man. I mean, he had a lot of views on YouTube, but I'm just a YouTuber, just like anybody else. It doesn't really, we're all just, none of us are rich celebrities. None of us are doing anything that crazy.
Right. I feel you, bro. But still, I appreciate it, my man. Listen,
and
you built
other
something
content
great. So
creators, it helps me out because I can't sit up here and say the same things every day. So it's nice to bring people on and have a different perspective. You know what I mean? So you're giving me content at the same time. So I appreciate it.
Likewise, my friend. I appreciate you.
Peace. Hit the like button in the chat. Talk to you guys soon. Later.
Subscribe, y'all. Peace.